My name is Isaac from the Innovation Consortium, and in our series of How to Do, today I would like to share with you about a chop saw, a dry cutter, what a chop saw is, how to use it, and what type of work it does actually. So with me here, on my right, I'm having this machine you're seeing here, and this is what we call a chop saw or a dry cutter. To explain what it does, basically a chop saw, it's more of a grinder. It's like a grinder with a cutting disc basically. So it's the same machine as a grinder, but its only purpose is to cut different work pieces, and it only adopts to one disc, and that's a cutting disc. As you can see, it only serves one purpose, and the purpose is to cut different materials or different work pieces by the use of a cutting disc you're seeing here. The cutting disc, this is the wheel of the chop saw. It's the one it's using to cut the different work pieces. For it, it's 14 inches. The difference between the disc with the disc of a grinder, it's in the size and the thickness. The one of a hand grinder, it's more smaller. For it, it's 9 inches, but the one of a chop saw, it's 14 inches. It's a little bit wider and thicker in size. So basically, a chop saw, it's a machine we use for only chopping, as you can hear, chopping different materials. Take for instance square pipes or round pipes. They can be wooden pieces, but for wooden pieces, it's the type of disc which changes, as you know, or if you don't, then you know. It's the disc which changes to a saw. Briefly, to experiment how a chop saw works, but before we see how it works, I would like to talk about the safety when operating a chop saw. As you know, most of the grinders, when we are cutting, we are having the flying fragments or chips or sparks. So when operating a chop saw, you'll need to have goggles, you'll need to have an overall, you'll need to have gloves, so that we forego, or basically we forego the hazards accompanied with operating a chop saw. So after knowing the hazards accompanied with operating the chop saw, we shall talk about the different parts of a chop saw. A chop saw has a switch, it has a motor, a power motor and an electric motor. It has a spindle which holds the wheel, the cutting wheel, and it has a table. So basically the main difference between a chop saw and a hand grinder is mainly the hand table and the size of the wheel. For a hand grinder, we are having a 9-inch cutting disc, which is a little bit smaller than this, but for a chop saw, the cutting disc is 14 inches and a little bit thicker in size. Then the other difference is the table maybe. The table also, it has a working table, which is part of the machine. But for a grinder, you have no working table, you'll need a working table. So after knowing the different parts and knowing the safety, so we shall have a physical experiment to see how it works, basically. So with the table has a screw. The screw adjusts to adapt to the different sizes of the work pieces. As you can see, once I open it, you can have a bigger work piece or a pipe. Take for instance, I'm having this steel pipe. It's a square pipe. If I want to grip it or cut it with a chop saw, I'll just put the piece on the working table, Then I lock the half nut so that I grip the pipe firmly in the chop saw, the chop saw machine. So once I grip it, you won't have any movements of the pipe, of the square pipe. Then you'll be free to cut, or it will be firm to be cut with the chop saw, as you can see. Once I press the switch, the wheel will start rotating automatically. Start. So as you can see, we have gripped our workpiece for the square pipe on the table or the bench of the chop saw. So we tighten it firmly with the help of a screw. It loosens and tightens the workpiece. So the vibrations and whatsoever will be sorted. So we ascertain the measurements of the workpiece. And to take note, whenever we are cutting any workpiece on the chop saw, we use the outside edge of the disc. Any disc you're using, it would be a wood disc or a wood saw, a circular saw of wood. It could be this cutting disc with abrasives. But to take note, we take the outside edge of the cutting disc to be our datum or the reference where we take measurements from. Take for instance, if I'm cutting maybe 200 millimeters, I'll put the tape measure on the outside of the edge of the disc. Then I transfer the 200 millimeters of the workpiece to the end of the edge of the workpiece to ascertain the size, the specific size we are looking for maybe. So right here, we shall physically see how to cut using the chop saw. As we had seen the switch is here inside. You just press the switch inside, then the wheel will start rotating. As it rotates, we are able to cut the different materials, as you can see. So that is the piece we've cut. As you've seen, the hazards I talked about, the flying chips, the abrasives of the wheel also spark away. So always take note. You wear your safety goggles and gloves and the overall, basically when operating the chop saw. So ideally, that's how a chop saw works. It's a rotating wheel and the work clamped in the table firmly. So as I press the switch, the wheel rotates. The work is already clamped. I just press it down. It has a pivoting point around here. It pivots and it goes down, back and forth. I press down. When I press down, the wheel is going down to feed into the workpiece. So I feed it while pressing down to cut the workpiece. So basically that's how a chop saw works. I remain Isaac from the Innovation Consortium. Thanks for watching our series of How To. Keep tuned in for the next many episodes of How To. Thank you very much.